Well, France, they get the win. They get the Grand Slam. Six Nations champions. Big congratulations. 25 points to 13 winners over England in Paris. We'll go through some key events, some stats, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on this one. Finally, I think we saw the potential kind of pay off, and I think in terms of the World Cup, this probably has pretty big ramifications with this French team now having a whole bunch more confidence about their own ability, and the fact that they're getting their hands on some silverware, I think will mean a lot. But they had to work for it. The bit of a tentative start early, as the kind of both sides felt each other out a little bit too much drop ball from both sides. But I mean, France won the first scrum penalty, which was important given what happened when England were able to get on top with their scrum last week. So good for the French confidence going forward, 3 points to 0. And it didn't take long for us to see some high balls going up for young Freddie Stewart. He was competing pretty well. That tactic, which seemed pretty obvious as soon as Freddie Stewart was named on the wing, and we knew England would kick a fair bit, and we saw that pretty early, and I think it worked. Maybe didn't get all of the pay they would have liked because France's ability to turn the ball over was pretty immense in itself. But we saw it early. That being said, the first try of the game goes through France, through that man Gael Fickou, and he's had a fantastic tournament, so it's pleasing to see him get over the line. That one had some pretty good French build-up, to be fair. Villiere was big in the build-up, and then just wide ball. Ntamack with some pretty nice hands, and France with a misconversion, up 8 points to 0, starting to look like they're building their way into a dominant position in the game, but England were not going to roll away. They got the next penalty to make it 8-3, and then interestingly, there was a weird moment where Jaminet got taken out in the air by Jack Nowell, who goes off early in this game injured, but Jack Nowell clatters into Jaminet when he's in the air. Jaminet falls kind of hard on his back, but they ruled that Penaud was the cause of the whole thing, which I actually, when I looked at it, I thought maybe he's going to be pinged for interfering, and sure enough, he was. So French fans would have been pretty livid at that one, I'm sure, but I'm personally pleased that this one didn't come down to some card making the difference. It was 15 on 15 for 80 minutes, which is what we want to see, because then no one can kind of question the manner of the result. So there was nothing doing from that one. Pretty pleasing, and in fact, Penaud was the one got penalised. Maybe it showed a little bit that that Furbank was a little bit rusty. Remember, it's his first game of the Six Nations this tournament, right? He takes a kick from Danty and fields it while his foot is in touch, which is kind of a schoolboy error. Makes that mistake, and he's got a hell of a volley on him. I don't know if he's been playing football, but instead of taking high balls, he just chose to kick them on the full, which was unusual. I haven't really seen that, let alone twice in one game, but we did see a bit of that from Furbank, so interesting involvements from him. Jaminet had another penalty, which just kind of snuck in on 23 minutes, 11 points to 3. More high ball to Stewart, but then more turnovers from France when they were having to defend. England kicked another penalty on 29 to make it 11-6. France, though, won a scrum penalty in return, which Jaminet, unfortunately for him, pushed wide. It was a long one, so it was a tough one, but he missed it. That being said, they still managed to get on the board one more time before full time through the loose forward Mr. Cros. I have no idea how his arm managed to sneak through. I mean, I think it was Ntamack finally took the ball to the line, which was pleasing because he's been pulling the strings without necessarily straightening that much this tournament. He finally takes the ball to the line. He goes close, and then Cros looks like he's going to be short. But then the next minute, the camera angle just shows his arm out over the line, like proper. Like, that's confidence as well to be able to do that, because one-handed, it's only going to take a slight bump and you're going to lose that ball. And England's going to be out of jail. But man, what a try that was. It's 18 points to 6 at halftime. That's a solid lead. but far from game over. Possessions 50-50, territory 60-40 in favour of France. But knock on 7 by France in that first half. England's got 1. Kicks from hand 19 by England in one half is quite a lot. Like I mentioned, they were putting a lot of boot to ball, sometimes too much, but they did have more run meters than France by half time. Second half, England, interestingly, when they get a penalty, they opt to go for touch. They don't go for the poles. They maul it. They go through some phases and then they knock it on. So a little bit frustrating. Seemed like a bit of a let-off, but they do finally get over the line, and they've not scored a lot of tries this tournament. Freddie Stewart, he's the man who gets it over, but it's really Marchand who kind of, again, straightens the attack, gets England a bit of go-forward ball, which they've been struggling to generate most of this tournament. But yeah, eventually they go through some phases, and Jaminet kind of bites in. Stewart's able to go over. So yeah, good try for England, and that absolutely means it's game on. 18 points to 13. I mean, France, to be fair, under the second half, they're under the pump for a large period, but they managed to kind of hold off the English attacks. It's both credit to the French defence, but also a little bit worrying that the English attack, honest to goodness, like sometimes they would just be starting to look good and then they would just kick it. It's like they're fighting against their own instructions. I don't know. I watched some of these guys play at club level, and I know they're better than that. But I mean, sometimes, like one time Marcus Smith put that little kick through for Stewart, and Villiere just picked his pocket. Like I think Stewart probably could have had it, but Villiere just out of nowhere just grabs the ball and then, you know, calmly runs it back up the field. So yeah, proper crazy stuff. And France do get the kind of much needed try just to settle things down, because the first 20 in the second half they've been under the pump. Dupont is the one who gets it. Alldritt's the man who sets him up, but there's some good carries in the build-up. I mean, Penaud, it takes like 4 players and they still can't bring him down. That sets up the scoreline of 25-13, and that's how the game finishes. I mean, England throw the kitchen sink in it in the final 20. They get held up, but they just can't score. France have got, like, you know, key moments, huge exit kick where they kick it from their own 22 well into England's half. I mean, it's England's ball, but still, like, proper good kick, good exit kick. England with the pressure, but France just too good, well able to hold. I mean, the second half stats, France have got 39% possession and 27% territory, but they score as many tries as England did in that second half. So it speaks to the nature of how good their defence is, and as I mentioned, how much England's attack has been struggling. Run meters, though, finished 305 to 577, believe it or not, in England's favour. They have more ball, 55%, that's England, more possession, 56% over the course of the game. Clean breaks, those clean with even with 3 apiece. Defenders beaten 16-19 in England's favour, so not much in it, but they had more ball, so you'd think they'd have more. Offloads, 13-3, that's France. That's a real French game. This side's, I mean, guys like Baille are just able to offload very comfortably, which, I mean, one of the Baille offloads was a couple of phases before one of the tries, like proper skills at keeping the ball alive. Tackles, France get their 155 to England's 98. So we talk a lot about the French attack being so skillful, you know, and guys like Penaud and Villiere lighting us up, and Dupont, but much of the French success this campaign has been built on their defence, tackling 89%, that's phenomenal, and their turnovers, man. They win real key turnovers at key times. I mean, individuals, Marchand makes 4 defenders beaten, which is a solid effort. He looks solid. Underhill, 17 from 18 tackles on his return. Marcus Smith, a bit, but ultimately kicked away a fair bit of possession. Dupont, 43 run meters, 15 from 17 tackles, a clean break, 2 defenders beaten, a try. The guy was everywhere. Man of the match. Jelonch makes 14 from 14 tackles. Alldritt seems to be everywhere. There you go. Grand Slam. Congratulations to France. It's been a long time since you've had your hands on that trophy, but you finally got it. And like I mentioned, this team, I think, is just going to get an absolute confidence boost knowing that they've got the mental fortitude, they've got the skills, they've got the players, they've got the coaching to get it done. Are they peaking too early? Nobody's saying that, but you never know. Ireland, commiserations to them. Obviously, they had a chance if England had done them a favour, but wasn't to be. England put in a fair bit of fight, but better team won on the day, and the best team won the tournament. So there you go. You guys let me know your thoughts on the game, on the tournament as a whole. If you want England rugby gear, I'm sure they're having a sale on today. I'll put a link down in the description to England Rugby Store. Fingers crossed they have a discount. But anyway, I do think that they put in a pretty good fight. But as I said, France is too good. You guys take care. Enjoy yourselves in moderation if you're a French fan. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.